Hello creators, thank you for joining me, and welcome to the art part with Miss Colleen. Today we are going to be exploring a little bit more the art element known as color. Specifically, we are going to be exploring color temperature and how you can use it in your artwork. Now, when we're talking about color temperature, we're generally talking about whether we can describe a color as warm or cool. If we take a look back at our color wheel, we will see that colors are usually divided down the middle of the color wheel as either warm or cool. Reds, oranges, and yellows are usually described as warm colors, while greens, blues, and purples are usually described as cool. But there's another way that we can talk about color temperature. If we take two colors on our color wheel, for example, blue and red-violet, and we compare them to each other, we usually call one of them cooler and one of them warmer. For example, blue we would call the cooler color, while red-violet is the warmer. But if we switch this to comparing red-violet and red, in that case we would call red-violet the cooler color and red the warmer color. This is because color temperature is relative depending on what you are comparing. For our artwork today, we're actually going to be creating 4 different pieces of art on one piece of paper. So the materials that we're going to need are a piece of paper, a pencil, you can use an eraser if you like, and our colors. In this case, I'm using a set of crayons. The first thing that we're going to do is to divide our paper into 4 quadrants, 4 different spaces. So it doesn't have to be perfectly even, but you want 4 equal spaces for you to do your artwork. So I'm going to divide mine right around the middle there, and right around the middle horizontally. So what we're going to be doing in our 4 different areas of our artwork is we're going to be creating the same picture 4 times. So we want our picture to be very simple so that we can do it 4 different times. So I'll just show you on the back of my paper the elements that I suggest you use, the figures or shapes that I suggest you use in your artwork, and what I'm going to be using in mine. We're going to be doing some landscapes. So I'm going to suggest a sun, a mountain of some shape, and a river of some shape. Now, where you put those in your drawings, totally up to you, and you could do more than one. You could do more than one river, you could do more than one mountain, you could even do more than one sun if you want to. It is your artwork. But I would suggest including one of each of those because of the way that our artworks are going to evolve. So taking a look back here, in each of my quadrants, I'm going to draw that same picture with the sun in the same place, mountain in the same place, river in the same place. The way that our artworks will be different is that in one of our artworks, the scene, the whole rectangle, the whole space is going to be just warm colors. In another space, it will be just cool colors. In another space, it will be mostly warm with a little bit of cool. And in another space, it will be mostly cool with a little bit of warm. So this is going to give us an opportunity to play with color temperature and see how different color temperatures look and the different feelings that they can give us when we are doing and looking at our artwork. So to start, I'm going to take my pencil. I think I'll start in this space up here. And I think I will start with some mountains. I think I'm going to put, maybe there's a little bit of a mountain here. Comes down like this. Maybe a mountain right here, a little one. And then maybe it comes up taller. Little bit of a little peak there, and maybe it comes down just like that. Your mountains don't have to look like mine. Wherever you want to put your mountains is fine, but remember, you want to keep your drawing simple so that you can draw it 4 times. So now I think I'm going to put my sun right about there. And now I think I'll have a river. Maybe the river comes down from the mountain, sort of like that. Comes around, flows down into the foreground of my picture. River's going to come down like this, flows down like that. That's an example of a sun, mountain, river picture. So now I'm going to come back over to here, and I'm going to draw the exact same thing I just did so that I can fill it in with different colors. So I've got a mountain, goes like this, and it comes down. Got a curve like that, and another curve down, and then it comes up to a little mountain, down, and then a tall one, down, a little peak, and down like that. It doesn't have to be exactly exact, because, you know, we are not machines, we are not robots. If you are a robot, then it's very nice to meet you. But I know that my drawings will not be quite exactly the same, and that's okay. But I want to get them as close as possible so I can really see the differences in the color temperature that I'm going to be exploring. I'm going to do my river coming down like this. It flows sideways, a little bit down, and then curves around like that. And then it comes around, big, wide, and then down. Okay, gotta do this 2 more times. Gonna do mountain that comes up like that. And then a curve, and then another curve, and then another mountain, little mountain. That's a little bit taller in this one, that's okay. And then tall mountain. And little peak. Down like that. And put my sun right about there. And my river coming down. So just take some time. Draw your drawing, make it nice and simple so that you don't get bogged down in a lot of details before you even get to the color exploration on this one. Because trying to copy a very complicated drawing can take a long time and a lot of effort. So we're just going to keep it nice and simple this time. Coming up like that. Oop, this mountain's getting very tall. That's okay. A little curve and another curve. And then a little mountain. And then tall one. Down like that. And a little peak. And then down. Got my round sun and my river. Down, sideways, around like that, and then down, and around to the foreground. There we go. And just like that, we have drawn 4 almost identical drawings. Now comes what could be described as the fun part. Hopefully you're having fun already. But now we get to really explore the differences between different color temperatures. So I think I'm going to make this my warm drawing. Make this my cool drawing. And maybe I'll make this cool with warm and this warm with cool, so that I get a nice contrast in the different areas of my paper. So I know that my warm colors, like on my color wheel, are my reds, oranges, and yellows. Usually if we look at the whole color wheel, we're not comparing individual colors to each other. If we look at the whole color wheel, those are the ones, that we think of as warm. So I'm just gonna get those out so that I remember Those are the only colors I'm using for this artwork. I could probably mix in a little bit of red violet if I wanted to. We'll see. To start with, I think I'm going to make my sun yellow. You don't have to make your colors realistic if you don't want to. You can do whatever you like in your drawing. But remember, for our first drawing, we are only using warm colors. Those are our reds, oranges, and yellows. So no greens, no blues, no purples, no pinks. Just our reds, oranges, and yellows. I've got my yellow sun. Next, I think I want to do my river. I think for my river, I'm going to pick a yellow-orange. Maybe I'll do a couple of different colors in my river. I'm going to start with my yellow-orange here. My river flowing down. Flowing down. You can color your river any way you like, as long as you are only using your warm colors for this first one. There we go. Maybe another little bit there. Another little bit there. Next, I think I will use my red-orange for my river. Coming down like that. Like that. Maybe you want to make your river all one color. Maybe you want to make it all sorts of different colors. That is up to you. There we go. There's my river. And I think I'm going to add a little bit of orange to my river. Just fill it in a little bit down here. Still using only my warm colors, my reds, oranges, and yellows. There we go. Now, I think next for my mountains, I'm going to make them a nice dark red. Maybe I'll throw some other colors in there, some other of my warm colors. But I think I'll start, I'm going to outline my mountains in red. There we go. It's a nice warm red. I'll color them in a little bit. Something like that. Ooh, my tall mountain. You know what? I'm going to put another color on the top of my tall mountain just for fun. Just because I had the idea and I want to know what it looks like. Maybe it's a little bit of light shining on the mountain. Maybe it's snow. I think it's probably some light shining on the mountain. Maybe I'll put that on the other mountains too. But on the tall mountain, it's nice and bright. Here we go. You can use that idea for your drawing if you like, or maybe you have another idea that I didn't think of. Go for it, as long as you are only using those warm colors for this first one. There we go. I'm gonna bring that red down a little bit. Maybe I'll make the riverside, the valley down here, make it a little bit more orange. Just an idea. Making my red orange down here. There we go. Okay. I think I'll add that orange to some of those other mountains. Just right in there with the red. So a little bit of light on those mountains. And I'm putting the light on the sides of the mountains that are closer to the sun. So you see I put some orange right over here. If I'm thinking of that as my orange light, then I want it to be closer to the sun side. So that's why I put that right there. And put that there. And right about there. Next, I think the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to color in my sky. I think I'm going to do that with my yellow-orange. Come right up here and just do a nice light sky color right around my sun. And I think I want the edges of the sky to be a little bit more orange, so I'm just going to add a very light little bit of orange on the edges of the sky away from the sun. Maybe behind the mountains there, it's a little darker. There we go. And that is my first drawing finished, my warm picture. Here I have used only my warm colors. So you can start to get a sense of how that drawing feels very warm because I've used those warm colors. Might give us a certain feeling. And now maybe when we do our cool colors, we might get a little different feeling. Let's give it a try. So I'm going to return my warm colors to my box just so I can keep it straight. And pick up my cool colors. In this case, my cool colors are my yellow, green, green, blue, and purple. And I'm going to move on to my second drawing. So maybe I'll go in roughly the same order as I did in the first one. I think I'll color my sun first, and maybe I'll make my sun a nice yellow-green. Just one idea. You can make your sun whatever color you like. You could make rays coming off of your sun if you want. That's up to you. And then I think I'll move on to my river. Make my river a nice green, maybe with some green-blue in it. And maybe some blue also. Maybe I'll just put all sorts of colors in my river this time. So you can use whatever colors you like anywhere in your drawing as long as you are only using your greens, blues, and purples. So you can really get a sense of contrast, the difference between your cool colors and your warm colors. What it's like to have only cool colors, what it's like to have only warm colors. There's a river. Like I said, doesn't have to be realistic looking. It's more about just using the colors for each particular drawing. Just using the set of colors that you are exploring in that drawing. Next, I think I'm going to make some purple mountains. Of course, your mountains can be whatever color you imagine, as long as you're just using those cool colors. There we are. Maybe I'll do the same thing where I add a little bit of light to the top of my mountains. I think I'll do that with a little bit of my blue-green. A little bit of light on that mountainside. Blue-green is kind of a strange choice for light, but that's the color that I thought of, so that's the color I'm going to do. coloring my mountains nice and purple. Bring that purple down a little bit lighter into the valley. And add a little bit more of that blue-green closer to the sun side. Get that light shining on the mountain. I think the valley down here is gonna be, I think it's gonna be green. Coming out of that purple. Again, you can do this however you want to do it. As long as you are staying in those cool colors. I think I'll make my sky a nice blue-green, because that's my favorite color in the crayon box. And I happen to be using it in my cool color drawing. There we are. And just like that, I think I'll add a little bit more of that blue to the edges of my sky. Give it a little bit of extra dimension. Here we go. My cool color drawing is finished. Already I can start to see some differences, some contrast between my two drawings, my warm color and my cool color drawings. And I'm starting to have some ideas about different ways that I can use that. I'll talk about that a little bit later. For now, I'm going to move on to I think I'll make this one mostly cool with a little bit of warm. Now we want to make sure that we are still staying mostly cool, and we're just dipping into those warm colors just a little bit, just for a few little things. This is where you can really start to get creative, but make sure that you are exploring with just mostly cool and a little bit of red, and we're going to flip that for this last one. So for my mostly cool with a little bit of red, maybe I'll start to think about where do I want, or sorry, not red, could be red, but I mean warm. Where do I want those warm colors? I think to start, I think I want to make the sun a warm color, and maybe the light on the sides of the mountains will be a warm color. So I think I'll choose a yellow, maybe a yellow for my sun. I'm gonna do a yellow for my sun. You don't have to start with your warm colors if you don't want to. Just an idea I had. If you wanted to start with your cool colors, find a place for your warm colors later, you can do that. But it might be a little bit easier to start with the type of color temperature that you're only going to use a little bit of, and then fill in the rest with your main color temperature, like I'm doing. I think for the light on the mountains, I'm gonna do that yellow-orange. Put a little bit there on the sunny side of the mountain. A little bit there on the sunny side. A little bit over here on the sunny side. Just some color like that where I imagine the light falls. You can use that idea if you want. Maybe a little bit right there. Now, I think I'm going to do the rest of this drawing in cool colors. So, they don't have to be the same places that I did them this way, although that might be helpful. Maybe I'll do a couple of things different, but maybe I'll do most of it the same. So for my mountains, I think I'm going to stick with purple. Purple Mountain's Majesty. Sometimes it's hard to know where the crayon is going to draw when I've been drawing with it so much that it's all worn down. That's okay. Something like that. Coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. And something like that. There we go. And then I'll start filling in where the light is not hitting. The light from the sun is not on these mountains over here. Not on that part. And I'll come down around like that. Color in my mountains. I'm overlapping just a little bit with my colors. Overlapping that yellow-orange just a little bit with the purple, so I get a little bit of a blend. That's one idea you can use. Don't want to cover it up too much, still want to be able to see it, but that can help me get a little bit of a blend so that the colors aren't so just plain right next to each other. But if you wanted them to be plain right next to each other, that works too. It is your artwork. It's whatever effect you want to achieve in your drawing. All right, gonna bring that purple down a little bit. Oh, I skipped my river. I was so excited about the light on the mountains. That's okay. We can do things out of order. I think for my river, I'm going to use my blue-green just a little bit. Like so. Maybe I'll come down with my yellow-green. Like that. And like that. Come in with my blue. There we go. Maybe you're using different cool colors for your river. Maybe your river is where you wanted to put your warm colors. You can do that. Just remember, mostly cool colors on this one. A little bit of warm. Alrighty. Next, I think I'm going to do my valley in my green color again. Overlapping the mountain color just a little bit. Like that. Just sticking with the same colors I used in my cool drawing so that I can really get a sense of the difference between the drawings in temperature. A little bit more helpful. And lastly, sticking with my cool colors, I'm going to come in with my blue-green to do my sky. Nice and light. It's just the way I want to do it. You could do it darker if you wanted. Color around my sun. And I think I'll do a little bit of that darker blue in the edges of the sky. Now I've got my warm color drawing, my cool color drawing, my mostly cool with a little bit of warm drawing, and now I'm going to do my mostly warm with a little bit of cool drawing. Just to see what that's like. See what different ideas I can have about how to use color temperature. I'm going to put back my cool colors so that I can remember that I am mostly using my warm colors for this drawing. Let's get those out. There we go. So I think I'll start the same way I started with my third drawing, which is where in this artwork do I want to put my cool colors? I have a couple of ideas first. I think maybe I'll put some cool colors on the back of the mountain where the light isn't hitting the mountain. Excuse me. And maybe I'll put some cool colors in my river, thinking that a river might be nice and cool. It's up to you. Doesn't have to make realistic sense, but if you have some ideas that are realistic, that's totally fine too. So it is up to you. Just remember, mostly warm colors, a little bit of cool colors in this one. Just a little bit. I think I'll start with a little bit of cool in my river. My favorite blue-green. Just like that. And I think I'll do a little bit of that blue in the river. There we go. Maybe I'll do just a little bit of that dark purple on the cooler side of the mountain, part without the light. It's not going to look just like the other ones, because on the other ones, the main color of the mountain was the purple. On this one, I'm just using it to be the cooler side of the mountain. Just an idea I had, and I wanted to explore it. Don't really know how it's going to go, but that's okay. Maybe I'll put a little bit more of that blue-green in the water. Alrighty. Next, I think I'm going to start with my sun. And this one, I think I want my sun to be how about a yellow-orange? Let's see what that's like. You could mix your warm colors together if you like. We've done a little bit of that with the blending, things like the mountains and the river. I think, in fact, I'm going to blend a little bit of my yellow-orange. Maybe I'll put a little bit of yellow on that sun as well. Up to you if you want to do that. Just remember, this one is mainly warm with a little bit of cool. I think I will continue that idea of putting a warm light spot on the side of the mountain. I think I'll do this with orange. Like that. Maybe I'll put a color between the orange and the purple, since the purple is the cooler side of the mountain. Maybe I'll do a main mountain color, which is red, just like I did over here. It's just an idea I had. Something like that. And then we start to see something interesting in our mountains. This is something I didn't plan, but that I'm very interested in. It's like the sun side, the sunny side of the mountain is light and warm, and the darker side of the mountain, the farther side, is the darker, cooler side. Start to see that gradient there, or that difference, that change from the orange to the purple. And that sense of temperature that we get on those mountains. One of the things that color temperature can help us do is convey a sense of physical temperature, like you would feel something cool or warm. Color temperature can help us do a lot of things. That's just one example. Perhaps you're already noticing things in your drawing that color temperature is doing in your drawing. I think I'm going to have this valley be red-orange again. Overlap my mountains a little bit. Down around the river. like so. Something like that. And then my sky, last but certainly not least. I think I'll make it, kind of orange in this one. Oh, that's my yellow orange. Whoopsie. That's okay. Coloring around the sun. And maybe I'll do a little bit of a red-orange on the corners, the outer edges of the sky. Because I wanted to know what that would look like. My orange sky. Okie dokie. I think I'll actually add a little bit of yellow in here so it looks a little bit different from the sky. So I know that's where the mountain is. Mountain starts and the sky stops. There we go. So, if I take a look at my 4 drawings, I can see a lot of differences, and I have a lot of ideas about what it is I'm looking at. I really enjoy the way the mountains get hit with these different color temperatures. It really feels like in the drawings where there is a warmer color on the sunny side of the mountain, it feels like that side of the mountain is warmer. Whereas on this side, the blue, it looks interesting to me and I enjoy it, but it doesn't really make me feel like that side of the mountain is warmer. And where I look at my mostly warm drawings, these two, it feels a little bit more like maybe it's sunset, or maybe it's a warm day, or all sorts of ideas I start to have. When I look at my cooler colors, I think maybe it's a cooler day, maybe it's spring, or maybe it's something like that. So you can start to have some ideas about the different ways that color temperature can be used in your artwork to have different effects, and the way you can combine different color temperatures, like my orange, red, purple over here, or even my yellow, orange, and purple in this one. All sorts of different ways that you can put different color temperatures in your artwork to have different looks, different feelings, different effects, different ideas. So I hope that you have enjoyed this exercise. I hope that it gives you lots of ideas for future exercises or future artworks that you would like to create. And as always, I hope you keep creating and keep sharing. I'll see you next week.